Hello, in this video I'm going to use the pack by Mel's Minion from ArtStation. He's made these awesome photo bash images which are all kind of cropped up PNGs and stuff, and I think this is a cool thing to test in the background designer tool that I've been working on. So I've downloaded the pack and I'm just going to go ahead and import a few of these. So I'm going to go to my little user section here. I'm just going to just delete that one. Free up some user space, and I'm going to start bringing these in. So if I go to the drive and photo bash, so he's got nature, places and castles, and trash. Now yeah, let's have a look at nature and see what we've got. Yeah, we've got cool trees, and this one's got funny eyes on it. Try to think to see what I could use. These are all kind of a bit cropped. Good to get a full tree. There's not too much here. I guess I could kind of still use it. Like, let's bring in this palm tree. Call it palm base. So when I load this in, it might be quite a big image. I get a feeling the resolution's high because it's taken a little while to load it. And I'm wondering if my software might struggle with this. But yeah, as you can see, it's massive resolution. But it's kind of what you want, right? And the cool thing about this is we can go ahead and change the colouring and things of these. For some reason it doesn't want to show me the brush. I'm going to test this. Let's see, a cloud. Yeah, that shows. Let's go here. There we go. It's a little bug there. So this lets us change the colours to whatever we want. So that's the original tone, and if I move, let's just go halfway, I can go ahead and make kind of tonal adjustments. So I'm basically changing the blue tones to something, and the red tones to something, and the green tones to something else. But these are kind of actually replacing, and it's kind of a different system now. But this can be quite cool for just making slight colour adjustments. So you can see the original and that. I'm going to start bringing these in. So a palm tree, let's just put that there, scale it up. You can use shift and scale to get fine tune shift scaling, and you see it doesn't quite blend perfectly, so we might want to do something with this later to make it softer at the edges, but I'll just kind of wing it for now and just keep bashing image together. So there's going to be like a foreground tree, and that's pretty fine, right? Let's bring in something else. So these are all kind of trees and things. This one looks like a nice rock. Let's call this rock a. Let it load. The images seem to be massive because it's taking a staggering amount of time to load, and this is on my SD drive as well. Specifically put on my SD drive because I seen they were quite big, and I was like, yeah, these are going to take a while, so let's move it there. I can press X to flip this left and right, but it doesn't like match the lighting so well anymore. So that's one thing you have to be mindful of when you're kit bashing some images together, is it might not match the lighting, and think about, does it look better this way or that way? I'm not too fussed. I can go ahead and sort of try and adjust some of the tones. Again, it's good because like with these replacement tones, everything's getting a similar kind of vibe to it. But what I want to do is actually make the sky work as well. I'm going to bring the sky up to something a bit more natural looking sky. I should actually put in some clouds as well. So if I go over to my clouds and I'm just press tab a couple of times, let's go for new tones. That's going to give me some tones that work there. And I'm just going to press F1 to random up the opacity. Let's go down to layer 0, call this clouds, and I just want to make one just a little bit whiter, like that, and then 3 for a bit of opacity, and I'm just going to let it do the flip horizontally and some random scale, and I'll just click a few of these in, and then let's go for a bit more like that. F1 a few times and just click a few of these in. Tab a few times, get another tone. Yeah, and then F1 one for a bit of low opacity, and let's even bring one of these down, make it a little bit reddish, and that should be enough. Kind of realistic-ish sky. A lot of variation in there. Let's just do a few more. Let's make this a bit more blue. Right, should be enough. I can always come back to this later, and I can always like adjust the tones a bit. So I've got these in, and I want to bring in some more stuff. Go back to user, and it's not a lot of foliage. That, you know, I expected a bit more foliage than this, but let's just see. So the sizes are pretty big, and I've never brought big images into this before, so this is kind of new territory. Let's call this I don't know, foliage 1. And what it also does is it's going to save a copy of these locally so that it can fetch these brushes later. I may make it that it can search directly into folders and use the absolute paths, so that's kind of a feature that might come in the future. It's taking a while to load this because it's so big. And now that that's there, yep, can't see anything. I'm just going to make sure I click on it. It's there, it's probably, there we go. Just need to press 0. Turn off the flipping and scaling. Now I can choose whether to have this behind here. It's annoying that it just stops at the top. It would have been nice if they, you know, it's just isolated the whole kind of shrub here, but now it's kind of like, okay, I need to decide how much I want in here. And normally you could just erase this, but Background Designer doesn't have that feature yet where it can just erase. But so I need to be clever and just hide that down there. Let's go for another one. It'd be good to have some ground of some kind. So let's just see what else we got in that pack. There's places and castles. These might end up a bit bigger. 4,000 by 2,000. Okay, I'll bring in this one. This one looks pretty nice. There's a lot of nice ones here. I've got Castle 1. This is a bit different from Photoshop where you can erase edges so they blend in. I don't have that feature right now, and I think it would be good to get that in soon. Let's just go back up a layer here. In fact, I'm going to undo that layer and Control-Alt Z here just to bring it back into layer 4 and call this foliage. And then that means I can bring this kind of behind it and decide how big I want to make this. Alright, and think, so where's the palm tree relative to this, and how big do I want to make this? I want it to be up here in a kind of mountain, so I'll go for that. Now the issue I'm seeing is like there's not a lot of foliage to help me bring this up, but I'll keep looking and see what we've got. Yeah, these are just a whole lot of places. Castles, and I quite like the look of this one. Maybe that's going to help it. So I'm going to bring that in. I'll call this structure. It's hard to see what the image was like, but I'll bring it in, and there we go. That's pretty cool. So I can flip it this way and that way, but you can see it's not a great match to the style. I can rotate it a little bit if I want as well. Let's change the colours up. Let's go for dark there. Let's make it a little bit more greeny blue. Like that, so we get contrast, and think about, is this going to match well enough? Make it like some sort of bit in the foreground. Let's see if I can get another bit of foliage. This trash. Let's bring in some trash here. This is kind of irrelevant to the style, but and the angles aren't ideal. There's no angle that would work because I'm kind of looking at things at eye level, and I might get a little bit of something in. Let's bring this into the foreground. Call it just props. Yeah, I could probably like put that way down there somewhere if I was standing in the street looking up at some view. Really hard to say whether these would work, so I'm going to put them way down here. I don't know. I really need more plants. So this pack, it's got a nature pack, but I feel like I'm not seeing like whole trees stuff, like, and they're not like all kind of cropped away the way I'd hoped. So let's call this foliage 2. I'm going to keep going with this though. I want to see where I can take all of this stuff and if I can, you know, make it work. This isn't too bad. Let's just put it back to the original colors. The edges aren't cropped so good as well. Like we've got a kind of like light edge, so I know they've just magic wanded this away and not really thought about how to blend the colours at the edges, so that's a wee bit annoying. Now I can alleviate that if I was to work out which tone was the edge, and yeah, so I can take away the white tones here. I can actually tone them down if I do want them in. Yeah, I can tone them down here, so that kind of helps. So I'm replacing those with this. You can see how that works, right? That's going to help in bits out. I'm going to flip and a bit of rotate here. This actually makes something else needs to be a bit darker. That's helped a bit. And let's just flip that there like so. And let's go in behind. Yeah, let's go in behind these. I'm just going to break that up like that. And maybe let's see what else was there. Yeah, let's go down here and bring some of this in. Not ideal because I want to be able to like crop some of this away, but already that's kind of interesting, right? The lighting's not brilliant, but I'm kept bashing something that's kind of interesting. Another thing I could do is grab an area and make a brush from it, so like that there, and call this tree part, and then go back to the original colours. The only problem is it's sampled the sky as well, so I need to work on like how to later manipulate these to erase them. I'm going to have a little editing area where you can actually go in and change the brush and make a copy and erase bits and then bring it back in and stamp it around. That's kind of what's needed, is what I'm seeing here. I'll go ahead and use some of the foliage as well that I've got, so I can go back to, let's see, I've got nice foliage here, and I can just like press tab over, if I bring these to new colours, go tab over the area and it will try and mimic those colours. And I put on random flip, random scale, random rotation, rotational range, and I can start to sort of, you know, fix some bits up a bit. It won't look super realistic, but it will be definitely a lot better than, you know, trying to fix some photos. So I could come here and use that to help. Just tab 3 times, we'll sample locally, maybe 5, and yeah, that's gonna, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That just helps fix that bit, but it doesn't look great, but does the job. Now there was another one that I seen that I wanted to use, a nice foliage bit, and I think it was this one. Call this palm foliage. Okay, I'm still here. I'm just waiting on it loading. Big image and a lot of memory getting used in this, I reckon. So once this, there we go, that's it loaded. So that's done. Just gonna press 0 to reset that, and let's go back to the original tones. I can see how I can kind of change it a bit as well if I want to make this look a bit different. And just want to make it so that I don't see the edges, and I'll put this in behind. Yeah, up here won't work. Let's just tab a few times, see if we can get some darker tones. Let's mix that a bit darker. I think I'm going to have to go in front of these and just kind of mix these in. Like, I'm a wee bit disappointed at the square edges. I'd expected it to be much more kind of worked so that it could just be brought in and placed around, but now like there's a lot of erasing would have to get done, and that's the one thing I think if anyone's making any sort of foliage packs like this, they would definitely benefit from thinking about that. Okay, so that's that done. Let's go back down to the clouds and maybe bring in a bit more light. So I'm going to go down to the fogs and just going to make this pure white, and then control click, and then all of these will get white if I go to new color, and I can kind of help the clouds a little bit here. Let's do random flip X, random scale, random rotation, bring that right up, and yeah, just kind of help the sky a bit. Let's tone it down with the gradient over here. Yeah, that's matching a bit better, and yeah, just help these clouds. And I can go in between layers to see if I can kind of help, like down here I could help sort of make this fade. I'm going to press 1 or 2 actually, make the brush quite big, and kind of just dot over here. Maybe I want to pick some tones. Oops, that was the wrong thing to do. Let's bring that back here. I'm going to pick some tones like here, control click, and then this will get a bit darker just to make that fade a wee bit more. Maybe even some orange. Yeah, and I feel that's not worked too well, so I'm just going to undo a bit of that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's go a layer up to the foliage. That's just down here. That doesn't really do anything in front of these. No, in front of all this. Maybe make it more green like this. You're not really seeing very much there. I just want to try and tie things in a bit better. And I guess that's kind of it, right? That's if I press Shift and Enter, it's going to go through all the notions, or Control and Enter. We'll go to the last undo. Shift and Enter will do all the plots that I've ever made, but Control and Enter will go to the last plot, and I just get to see this sort of process. W will attempt to wrap, but as you can see, we need to work on a brush editing thing so we can fix these brushes up so they work a bit better. Some erasing and stuff, which isn't too difficult. I know it can be done. Like up here, would be good to add some things. I mean, I can add some trees that I've made, but they're not the same style. Let's make these original colors. In fact, let's tab with new colors. Let's see if we can get something. These don't exactly match, and then I would need to I could sneak these back here, I suppose, and do a little opacity. Just turn off that, and yeah, let's just do this manually like this. Kind of add some stuff in here like so, and maybe down here. I think about what other trees I've got. It's not the perfect matte painting technique, but it's definitely a kind of a much easier way if you don't have Photoshop skills and you want to try matte painting. You can totally use Background Designer for that, and use a little bit of opacity, flip everything around. I'm just going to do these so I don't have to press the button, and tab over a few colors. Let's see, that's a nice color. bring in some more foliage and things. Yeah, let's do the rotation. Really kind of jive this up a bit. You can also do random color, and that will give you random color. I need to change that so that the range is not as drastic. So that's just where that drawback is. This is still a tool in progress, and I want to do loads of nice stuff with it. So feel free to suggest anything as well. Let's put some grass here as if we're kind of up some hill somewhere. Let's go way up to the foreground and bring some more of this in. Oh, that's a hidden layer. I must have clicked it. Yeah, we get some of that tone in. Let's turn off the rotation. And we do have some other grasses here. Again, not really matching the style because these are hand painted graphics, but you can totally bring in your own stuff. Bring in your own photos, and I'll look into how to, you know, fix those up later. We've got other clouds that we could add. I don't have realistic clouds, but they're definitely convincing enough to use. So yeah, that's quite nice, and dot some of these around, make them quite big, rotate them, a bit of variation there. And another cool thing we can do now is press F9, and we get to see it as if it was for Commodore 64. F9 again is my made up Commodore 64 V2, which has more colours and double resolution. F9 again, Sega Master System, and I'm going to work on a few more of these, but that's what I've got so far. It's just nice, you know, to be able to make something like that very quickly and use maybe in a game or something, tell part of a story. Let's see, another cool thing we can do is capture the whole image by basically merging it. So if you press M, it's going to merge all the layers, merge all them into one layer, and you can see if we go here, we got this merged 1572. That's a little timestamp, and if I put this back to the original color, we now have the image, and it keeps the transparent background. So I'm just going to use backspace to clear everything, and I can, you know, scale this down, whatever I want to do, like that. I can bring in new colors for it. Let's say all the dark tones, all the blue tones, let's make a slightly different blue, all the red tones. Now this isn't additive color, it's replacive color, so you have to think about what it's actually doing. We can see the preview there, and we can also change the sky. Let's go back over to one of these and be a bit more dramatic with these colors. Make sure we do the full replace just to get the full feel of it. So there's not a lot of blue tones in there. This is kind of like color grading in a way. So we go originally, we can just like tint things towards a certain tone. Let's just place that down. Oops, turn these off. Yeah, place that down, and then I'm just going to press B to turn the brush off, and then I just play around with the gradients to see, you know, what would be quite a cool looking scenario here. Let's make that quite warm. And that looks quite nice, and then you can try them out in the different shaders. Back to that, and backspace, B to turn the brush on, original colours, control and mouse wheel to change the scale, and it should snap to a scale of 1, and then you can sort of just plop that in place like that, and there you have a whole new image made in Background Designer. Take it out, put it through Photoshop, so I'm just going to basically save it, desktop, and call it for processing. A tool I've brought post processors into Background Designer. It's still a case of using what you know. So I'll go ahead and open up Photoshop. So feedback wise to this pack, it's a good pack, but I would have hoped that there was a bit more kind of cropping and smoothing at the edges so that it just kind of blended in. I know that when you bring them into Photoshop, you're going to blend them and erase bits yourself. Anyone that does matte painting won't have that issue. They'll be quite happy to just plop it in and erase the bit they don't want to see, overlap it with other bits. But the foliage especially, I feel like there could be a lot more tree line type stuff. So I'm going to give this a decent review. I'm going to give it 3 stars, to be fair, because there could have been more work done with the edges, and it is a good pack for the price. I've got it, bought it cheaply, so I paid for the extended commercial license just in case I make something cool. And because I'm demoing in Background Designer, I want you guys to sort of come and think about using this technique for putting a picture together using that tool. Let's jump into Photoshop and see what I can do here with that then. So I'm going to open it up, and let's see, there it is there. Now I can do other things like level adjust it and do even more things with the colour. Let's try just go through the hue. And I'm being a bit silly with this. I'm not a matte painter and I'm not trying to make something hyper realistic. I'm very much experimenting with this, and I like to try things out and see what I can get for fun. And you know, I'm playing about with Background Designer a bit here as well, and trying to make something interesting, colourful. So if you did want to do it the right way, it is a case of, yeah, you go and find something, and like these, for example, if I was to drag one of these images in, like this one, it comes in as this kind of object that you can then rotate around, scale it down, which Background Designer can do these things, and then add a mask to it, which is something that I could potentially do, is add masks to things and then erase the bits you don't want. And you can also kind of like edge things away if you don't want them. I've made this really kind of bizarre looking tree now. And then X to bring it back in. So using the masks is a good way, because if you erase, it's kind of like done, right? You can't really do any more to it. But if you've got a mask, if you paint black, it goes away. If you paint white, it comes back, because it's keeping the image retained and not affecting it directly. Then you would kind of like color adjust this. So you bring it more in line with the color of the tree there, and it all kind of matches up, and you get a funky looking weird tree. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoy experimenting with matte painting, and as far as that product goes, yeah, I recommend trying something like that out. Go and take your own photos, crop them up, make your own pack, and kit bash things together and see what you make. But that's it. Thanks again. I'll catch you later. Bye.